So apart from the main compartment, our bag is going to be having two compartments at the front. So the first thing to do is to measure the length and the width. Emphasis on the widest part of the width. That's what you're going to be using for this measurement, the widest part. So after getting your measurement, all you need to do is this. If you're making just one compartment, add 4 to your length, 4 to your width. But if you're making two compartments, you're going to be adding 7 to your width and 7 to your length. That's 7 inches to your width, 7 inches to your length. So after that, that's what you use to cut at this pattern, and you fold your pattern like this, and of course you start making your pattern. Now the first thing you're going to be doing is to mark at 1 inch like this. Just mark at 1 inch, and you go ahead and connect that 1 inch to the bottom there. So use your ruler and then draw it down like you can see me doing. So the next thing we'll go ahead and do is to curve. Now for curving, if you don't have a French curve, then it's not a problem. So what you do, just look for an object with a circular base and use to do your curve. Just curve the upper part and the lower part, as you can see. And of course, you cut it out. And after getting your pattern, you go ahead and use this pattern to cut out your bag material. Using this pattern, place it on your bag material and trace it on it, and then cut out. So you can use any material of your choice for this particular backpack, but I am using this for this project. So this is it after cutting it out. Now of course I'll go ahead and add my interlining to give this material more weight, and of course it will make it more durable. And then you can go ahead and just sew this on your material, but I'm just adding gum. It's not always that necessary, so you can skip this part and just sew it around. And after sewing it around, you're going to be adding your lining to this also, and you are sewing it round too. So of course, after adding my gum, this is what I do next. I'll go ahead and trim out the excess because I don't need them. And this is it. So of course I'll be adding my lining, and I'll sew it round before doing this particular thing. After adding my lining, sewing it round, I will then put this cartoon character on it in a centralized way before sewing on it like this. Make sure you centralize your cartoon character before sewing like this. You can see that I added lining before doing this. So the next thing, I want to cut it out. You can see the way I folded so that I will have space to give that small cut, so enable me cut it out round. So I'm not cutting it out round. So this is it after cutting it out. So the next thing I'm doing, I'm just marking 1.5 inch round. So I just mark 1.5 inch round, and I'm using my French curve to connect the lines. Remember, 1.5 inch. So it means the remaining parts will account for the 2 inches. And then after connecting the lines, I'll go ahead and sew round that line. I will not just cut out, I'll sew out, because if I just cut out, the lining will just dangle about. So I don't want that to happen. So I'll first of all sew it round. I'll sew it round 2 times, so that when I cut it out at the middle, the other stitch will be for the other parts, and the other stitch, I said 2, will be for the other part. So just watch and you understand what I mean. So this is me sewing it. So after sewing it, I'll go ahead and cut it. You can see that the sewing line is actually two. So I'm cutting in between. If you look at it very well, you see it's two. I'm cutting in between that line. And so this is what we have. So what I'm doing now is to notch. I'm notching it to get the middle. It's important you do that too. So now to the table, and this is what we have. So I'm going with the first one. Now remember that you cannot just apply this other cutout to this, but you cannot just add your zip and use it to it will be excess, like there will be excess. So but what we need to do is to measure around this cartoon character to know what the circumference is. So I think I got the circumference, and what I did was to determine how long I want my zipper to be. I think I used about 25 inches for my zipper, and that 25 inches I'll first of all cut it out. So 25, it means I'm going to share that 25 into 2 to give me 12.5, since this material is on fold. So I'll first of all cut out the 12.5. Now after cutting out the 12.5, what I will do, I will minus the 12.5 from the total circumference I just measured. I told you I was measuring. Whatever I get is what I will use to cut out the lower gusset for this cartoon character. So this extent is where it got to. So the excess coming out is about 2 point something. So I'm going to share it into 2 and then cut it out from the different parts. So that's the half. So when I cut it to mean that I've cut out from the different parts. I just hope you understand what I mean. Because if you sew it like this without cutting this out, you will not like. You can see that even when you place it like this, it's looking as if it's not going to be enough, but no, it will be enough when you sew it. So we are going to be adding our zipper, and then after that, we are going to be covering the rough edge with our bias, and then we'll add the lower parts of that cartoon gusset, and of course after that we are going to be sewing it to the cartoon character. I'm adding my zipper, very important. And then I'll go ahead and sew that the lower parts. You can see that I've done that. And of course, always remember to conceal the rough edges of your sewings. If you watch closely, you can see that I use the lining to conceal it. I use the lining. Maybe I'll show you how I did it in my next video. But if you watch closely, you understand how I did it. So just sew down the parts that we open. Okay, watch closely. You see that I removed the lining from the lower gusset, and then I first of all sew that material to the zipper part of the gusset, and then I turned the lining and then sew. So that's basically how to do it. So with that, the rough edge is concealed. So sorry about the way this video came out. Sometimes it's not it's not easy to be the one recording and sewing at the same time. So just bear with me. But you would understand if you really watch thoroughly. So I'm trying to get the midpoint of this cartoon gusset so that I can attach it to the cartoon character. So what I do when I want to attach, if I don't want to use pin, I'll sew at this point the top notch, and after sewing I'll remove and I'll go to the lower notch and sew too, so that this gusset is centralized. Very important, is centralized. But if you just use pin, it will also be okay to use pin and pin the different points. Okay, as I'm sewing, let's talk about the kind of machine that is better for sewing bags. Do you think the manual machine? Of course, I don't think anybody should be thinking that manual machine is better for sewing bags. No, it's not the best. It is not the best. I have struggled a lot with using manual machines to sew bags, and been into bag making for a very long time, even though I've not been really doing it totally full time because of one or two issues. I can tell you for free that manual machine is not the best to sew bags. Yes, I can tell you. Yes, it can be set. It can be set to actually sew bag, but it still has this difficulties when it comes to sewing very thick bag material. Yes, there is this difficulty. Maybe because I really don't like doing things in a stressful way when there are other means to do it easily. I really don't subscribe to that. So if there are ways to do things easily, then I should target that way. I should go for that way, not doing it in an analog way when there is a digital way to do it. So that's it. So if you're planning on actually going into bag making full time, I would advise that if you have your money, please do not come for a manual sewing machine. Go for industrial. Yes, industrial. especially the manual machines we have here in Nigeria. They are let me not use a bad word, but the manual machines, some of them we have in Nigeria. Yeah, some people go for fairly used machines that were not previously used in Nigeria. I think sometimes those ones have more standard. They have higher standard than the ones that have been previously used in Nigeria. Yes. So if you really if you want to actually go into bag making and you have the money, please go for industrial sewing machine. But if maybe you don't really have the money and you still want to do something about bag making, I would advise that you go look for fairly used sewing machine that was not previously used in Nigeria. Yes, those are better. So you can see that I am actually kind of struggling with this. It's not as if this material is so difficult to sew, but sometimes your machine would want to make things difficult for you. That's how they behave sometimes. So I think I'm trying to conceal the rough edges. That's what I'm doing now. So take notes that when you have let me just say this now as we wait. When you're sewing your bag and you have a circular circumference to add a gusset to, when you measure that circumference, I am telling you from years of experience, do not add allowance to it. Do not add allowance to the length of your circumference, like the circumference. Do not add sewing allowance. Please don't do that. So the next thing to do after concealing the rough edge is to add my lining, and of course I'll sew it through too. So because of my busy schedule, the number of I did not just complete this bag in a day. So I did it in a couple of days before I could finish it. But if you are just doing the bag, and of course you can complete it in a day. And for this size of this bag, I actually used 1 yard, though some pieces were remaining, but I used 1 yard to make this. So if you want to make this exact size, looking at the cartoon character, then you would want to buy 1 yard, just 1 yard. Don't buy more than 1 yard. So of course I'm measuring the circumference so that I can still cut the gusset for the next compartment. I told you it has like 2 compartments, so I just measured, and of course it's as if I'll be using 25 inches for the zipper too, and I'll just basically do the same thing, cut out the zipper gusset, and the remaining part I will trim out the excess based on the circumference I just measured. So I'll go ahead. You see, I did not start from 1. I started from 25, I think, so that I can cut out the excess. So you can see the excess. That excess is much, so I just measured it, and you see the way I still marked it. Yes, so you can use any method. You can use the first method of bringing them together and cutting once, or use this method. They are the same. So this is what we have, and of course we'll be adding the zipper, and we'll basically do the same thing we did earlier. This video is so long that there were parts I just had to cut out, and I think what I will be doing is that those parts I cut out, I will use it to make another video and post. So part like how I did the main bag gusset, I think I basically cut it out. Bag gusset is something majority of people know how to do. You know how to sew it. As I purposely cut it out. But if you don't know how to make bag gusset, you can check my video. I'll be posting a video of how I made this particular bag gusset. I'll be sending it into the channel, so do where to look for it and watch it. So which name, how will I tag it? Is it making bag gusset for my, how to make bag gusset for my how I made bag gusset for my trolley bag? Maybe that's how I will tag it or name the video. So another thing, if you think the steps, what I'm doing is, you already know it. I think there's a feature here on Facebook where you can fast forward your video. Ask ChatGPT if you don't know how to do it, to tell you how to do it. So just fast forward so that it will be faster and you watch this video with ease. Yes. Maybe especially the parts you don't really like to watch. So of course the next thing to do is to insert that the second compartment gusset to its corresponding parts. So that's what I'm doing now. So as we are watching this, can we quickly talk about the kind of thread you use for sewing your bag? Initially, when I started bag making, I could use any thread to sew my bag. That's normal thread for sewing clothes. I use it, but I noticed that in most cases when you use such thread, the bag gets bad easily. It's not that strong. But right now, I don't use such thread to sew my bags again. So I feel maybe you can do that too, especially if you're sewing bag that should stand the test of time. You should be looking into using, I think, nylon thread. That one they call shoemaker thread. But there are sizes to those thread. So we have size 6, size I think size 9, size 12. But don't go for size 9. You can use size 3 or 6. Yes, depending on the strength of your machine. But in most cases, you can use size 3. Size 3, this blackhead machine can easily use size 3. So always use a nylon thread size 3 to make your bag if you want it to stand the test of time. So that's my beautiful advice. So thank God this step. Okay, I'll go ahead and add my lining to cover that compartment. Very important, because if you don't add the lining, it means there is no compartment there. Yes, so I'll be adding my lining to secure that compartment. So of course I'll trim out, and that's it. The front part is ready, and this I will use to cut the back part. I'll just place it on top of the material, and then I'll use it to cut the back part. But when I did that cutting, I've already made the back part, but I noticed that I did not video that part. So I'll just place it on top of this same material. I just want to use this one for illustration, and then I'll cut it out. So that's basically what I did. And of course, after cutting it out, I'll still go ahead and add my lining to make it stronger. Of course, it's not this material I'll be using to make it stronger, and then I'll see cut out that what's the name of this this part that your trolley will rest on at the back. I'll still be cutting it. So that's basically how I cut the other parts using the main material. Then to make this trolley and cases, what should I call it? I'll check for the name. So what I did was that I came down by 3. You can see that I'm marking 3, and I went up by 4. I went up by 4, and then I just had to measure what I have in between. So whatever I got, I times it by 2, and then I added 1 inch to it. That's what I used to cut the length. So I got 11 times 2 is 22 plus 1 23. That's what I used to cut this material. And then the wideness of that enkesa is the width of the back pattern plus like 1 inch, because you are going to be trimming it off anyways. So that's how I basically did cut it. So that's it. So the next thing I will go ahead and do is to sew it. Of course, the next thing you'll be seeing is not this material I'll be using to sew it, because I just use this material to illustrate to you. So I'll continue with the main material. Hope you understand. So I'll go ahead and sew it like that. So let's sew it. So this is it. So in this part, I did not bother to add any interfacing or interlining. So I had to turn it around after sewing, and then I went ahead to centralize that seam. I centralized it, and then I'll go ahead and add my foam. You can add anything, you can add wadding, but I'm adding this soft foam at this point. And then take note that the foam, when I added the foam, I did not allow it to enter my seam. So anytime I'm sewing, the foam will not get to the seam. If you notice that your foam wants to get to your seam, please trim it out. See, I'm trying to adjust the foam, but I noticed that it will still be too long. So I cut it out a bit before pushing it in. Then I'll go ahead and sew it down, and then trim out the excess. So that's that. And of course, I'll go ahead and add this belt attacher. Is that the name? I don't know. You see that belt attacher, the size is 5 by 5. Then I folded it like this and cut it into 2. That's what I did. And then I attached it to the belt. Now the length of the belt I'm attaching it to is 24.5 inches. That's what I used. So I'm just trimming, and then I'll turn to the other side and then top stitch all the way around. So after that, I've already attached one. I went ahead to attach it to the back of the bag. You can see it, and then I will attach this other second one to it. So make sure as you're attaching, the way you attach this other side is the same point you attached. You can bring the bags together to make sure they align. So this is it, and yeah. That's it. Now I'll go ahead and add my lining, but before I add my lining to the back, I'll add a foam. I'll sew it like so, and then this is it after sewing it, and then I'll go ahead and use it to cover the back. Another trick I want to give you when sewing with your blackhead machine or even your industrial machine is that when you're adding thickener or stiffener, like this kind of foam, you make sure it not get into your seam allowance where you sew through. It saves you a lot of stress. It saves you from a lot of stress. So of course I'll trim out and the back part is partially ready, not fully ready. So for the handle, it is the wideness is 2.5 and the width is, how do you get the width? Just measure the total length of your back pattern and minus 3 inches. That's what I did, and then I fold like this and curve it. That's it. Take note that we have different kinds of way of making this handle, but I chose to use this method right now. I chose to use this. So of course you cut it out using your material. And then sew it. So this is it after cutting it out. Then of course I added interlining to this to make it stronger. And then the other parts I added after the foam is I use net material to do that. And because my net is a see-through net, what I did was I added something like a lining to that net. The lining is the same color with the net, so you can do same too. So I'm just trying to make sure I get the wideness of the net I need. So you can see the lining under. So I actually went ahead and sewed it, as you can see. And remember, you can see that I'm adding like a foam to it. You need to do that too. So after which I'll just add the adjuster. And then I'll do that for the second handle. That's basically it. So I'll be adding this to the back part of my bag. And then to add this handle, you can decide to add it at the middle, like let them meet at the middle, or just go add from the middle by 1/2 inch on both sides, and that's where you'll be adding your handle. Depends on what you want. So that's the back and the front part is ready. So for the gusset, I'll go ahead and measure my background to know what I want, and after that I'll first of all cut out the zipper part of the gusset. And how do I know the length of the zipper part of my gusset? I came out with a formula. This formula is my formula. It's from me. So this should be the first time you're getting to hear this formula, and it's basically from me. So the formula is the circumference divided by 2.5. Everything you get, you add 2 to it. Make sure you sum whatever you get to the nearest whole number. That's how you get your zipper part. And of course, when you get your zipper, you minus your zipper from the circumference to get the lower part of the circumference. Of course, this I'm going to be showing in details in the video I said I'll be sending for the back gusset. And if you don't really understand back gusset, you want to watch that video. And straight to what I'm doing right now. I added knots to this lower part of the back gusset so that I'll be using it to attach my trolley. I added the knots. That procedure is in details in the video I'll be sending in later. So that's basically it. And the width of this bag gusset is actually 6 inches. You can see that I added knots to it, so that I'll be adding it. So I'll be adding the trolley to it, and then I'm now sewing the gusset to the body of the bag. Now you can skip that knot part if you want, because that trolley can be, as you can put your bag on the trolley and use it like that. If you don't want it to be attached to your bag, you can just put it, use it. If you don't want to use it, just remove your bag from it. That's another way to use that trolley. And another thing I want to let you know is that this, I noticed that to get the other trolley is difficult to get here in Nigeria. So what I did was that there are some things I ordered actually from China, and the next order I'm going to be ordering from China is I'll be adding this trolley to it, the one you can actually fix directly to your bag. The one you fix directly to your bag, I'll be ordering it in this my next order. So if you want to order anything relating to those things you find difficult to see in Nigeria, or maybe anything you want to order, you can how do you get me? Maybe I'll add my WhatsApp number to the description box, so you just chat me up and tell me you want to order things. So tell me what you want to order and I'll order it for you. So I'll just go ahead and add the gusset to the front part of the bag and the back part of the bag. So that's basically it. After adding, of course, I will conceal the rough edges, and that's it. Our bag is ready. And once I'm done with sewing the main body of the bag, I'll be attaching it to my trolley. So that's what you should be watching now. I think you should enjoy this video, and you should learn a lot. You would have learned a lot from this video. Yes, you would have learned a lot. So if you actually did, what should be stopping you from giving us a thumbs up or giving me a like? Okay, a thumbs up, that's a like. Just give me a thumbs up and share this video so that others can actually get to watch it too. Yes, and if you have any question, I am fully back now. You can ask and I'm ready to answer you. Sorry for those who've been asking questions and I've not been replying. It wasn't my fault. I have been in some kind of situation that I was unable to answer comments. So this is the bag. This is it. So we'll go ahead and fix it to the trolley, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm removing the knot and then I'll attach the knot. Now this process is from me too. So if you see anybody doing this, in fact, once you see this, I would know that this is the first channel you're seeing this from. Yeah. So that's why we put this like this out, so that people can get to see new ideas or just get ideas on how to improvise. This is improvisation. I just improvised because this is not supposed to be the way. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Okay, bye.